Good morning, everyone.
Good
Happy
morning.
Saturday.
Good afternoon and good evening.
Good evening
Yeah.
and good tomorrow morning. That's right.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are. Good time zone to you. Yes. So, yes, I'd like to say happy Halloween, but that was yesterday. But I'm still wearing, this is my Halloween uniform that I wear.
Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect.
Is it a big deal to trick or treat in Canada?
It is,
Okay.
though, where we got 4 kids at our door. 2 of them, well, actually, all of them were related. 2 were our grandkids, and 2 were our great nieces.
Oh,
Wow.
But I live out in the country, so for us, and growing up, and even when our kids were trick or treating, always involved the car. So one of the parents
yes.
or
Oh.
2 parents,
Mhm.
possibly, will drive the kids around. And it's
Yeah.
really a chance to just chat with your relatives, your aunts and uncles and cousins and neighbors.
Right.
And it takes a lot longer than it really should. But it's really a social time for the parents as much as the time for the kids to get candy.
Well, that's okay.
It is, yeah, it's great. But the trend has been, to some people, which is the wrong way of doing it, is drop their kids off in a subdivision where it's much more efficient to go door to door,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
especially
good
without
idea.
the parents yapping and wasting all that time.
I know when my kid was really young, my nephew took him and did that exact thing. But my nephew had a husky, a really, really big husky, and the bag got so heavy that they devised a system where the bags, like the husky, carried the bags of candy.
Oh my goodness.
Because
That's
the
amazing.
subdivision was like one of those mega ones, 500 homes or something.
Wow.
Wow.
So you're right. They still do that. They
Yep.
dump kids off at subdivision.
Yeah, it's fun. So happy Halloween, everyone.
Yes.
But it's November 1st or 2nd, wherever you are. So we are moving into November, and tomorrow is the beginning of WikiTree week. So make sure you've signed up for that. We'll remind you again at the end of the roundup to do so. But if you haven't already done so, make sure you do it, because there's lots of great things happening this week.
And today is the last day.
Today's the last day to sign up officially, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you can always, everything is free, so it's not like it's not a gated community. We won't charge you at the door. Everyone can watch everything, but if you sign up, then you're eligible for the prizes that are being drawn, and there are some good prizes too. So you want to come, you want to get your name in there. But we've got a full slate again. We've got a couple guests. One of our guests is our sometimes co-host, Sandy.
Yay, Sandy.
And we also have Dave joining us. So let's take it away and welcome Dave.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you again, David, for accepting our invitation. And it's great to have you. Congrats for being our member of the week.
Thank you. Honored to be nominated.
Oh, please tell us, where are you from? Where are you today?
I am outside of Cleveland, Ohio, suburb west side of Cleveland.
You have a neighbor?
So.
Great.
Go Browns.
It's great to have you. And you're here today because you are a member of the U.S. Civil War Project, which is our
Yes.
theme, one of our themes for this week. And you have a very close relationship with that. But before we talk about that, I'd like to know how and when did you become interested in genealogy? Because you have an interesting story about that.
Yeah. So when I was a teenager, my grandmother started sharing stories, family stories with me, and talking about specifically 2 lines of our family, the Chapmans and the Needhams, that go way back into Connecticut and Massachusetts history. And especially with the Needham family, talking about Anthony Needham. There's a whole line of them. There's 6 of them. But Anthony Needham V was a captain in the American Revolution, and that really sparked my interest in history, and got me interested in family history. She was a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I inherited all her family history papers, books that she had. I have her DAR certificate from, I think it's like 1946, when she became a member of the DAR. So when I went away to college, then I started getting very interested in that. I majored in history, and wanted to know more on the family history, and started doing family history research on my own, genealogy, even doing some local classes about it, and just haven't stopped. So 30 some years now, 40 years of doing that, and 30 years of teaching history.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I bet with that background and all that history around you, I bet it was only natural that you were interested in your genealogy. And you have a strong connection with the, I hope I say it right, it's the 103rd OBI.
Yes.
Please tell us what is that, and please consider not from the United States, and many of our viewers are not. So please tell us what is that, and what's the importance of that regimen for you and your genealogy.
Yes. So the 103rd Ohio Volunteer Infantry was started in the second call from Abraham Lincoln in 1862, when he put out the call for volunteers to serve in the Union Army. At that point, things weren't going so great for the Union Army. And Ohio, I believe behind Pennsylvania, maybe New York as well, has the most volunteers. And the three counties, Medina, Lorain, and Cuyahoga County, I currently live in Cuyahoga County, got men together and volunteered and formed the 103rd Regiment. And so they enlisted in August of 1862, and in September of 1862, they were mustered in and began their 3-year journey in the Civil War, fighting for the Union. And as I was doing some more family history on the Chapman family, came across a cousin who served in the 103rd, Harlan Page Chapman, first cousin, 5 times removed. And one of my former students of mine, who's a Civil War reenactor and wrestled for me as well, we got together, and I had mentioned to him about the Chapman line in this 103rd, and he said, "Oh, I got to give you a book. You're going to be amazed at what you're about to find out." And so we met over lunch, and he gave me, after I have the book here, this book, and it is the personal reminiscences and experiences by members of the 103rd Ohio Volunteer Infantry, campaign life in the Union Army from 1862 to 1865. And lo and behold, Harlan wrote 7 chapters of that book. So I quickly borrowed his book, found out about the 103rd, had no idea that they had continued reunions from 1867 to the present day every year. And now it's the group that are the sons and daughters of the 103rd. But the members of the 103rd originally met in 1866. A few of them decided to get together and start annual reunions then the following year in 1867. And by 1907, they did them at different places, some on the east side of Cleveland, some on the west side of Cleveland. And then in 1907, they found a spot where they could have a permanent reunions, and they bought a few acres on Lake Erie. Right now, it's a very prime spot, but in 1907 and 1908, they purchased that. And that's been the permanent home for their reunions every summer. And now they've built, the descendants have built cabins, cottages on the property. There's about 33 of them. They have a dining hall. They have the original building that went up to house those who were out of town coming for reunions. It was a barracks named after 4 of the guys who were members of the 103rd that put it together. And there were 16 rooms in it, and family could stay in a room. And then that eventually, which is the oldest building on the property, was turned into, I believe it was in the 1970s, was turned into a museum. And as the families have accumulated items from their ancestor who fought in the Civil War, they began to donate these, and it's quite a collection. They can't put everything out; they have so much stuff, but quite a collection of pieces from the Civil War in the museum. Harlan Page Chapman's family has donated his knapsacks in there, pictures of him, all kinds of different things. There's bullets, there's eyeglasses, anything that they had on them was in there. Their drummer boy, Andy Parsons, was given a ceremonial drum at the end of the war by the regiment. That is in there. Some of the fifes are in there from other musicians, and lots of pictures from that time period, and then of the reunions as well. And so the bottom, there's 2 floors to the museum. The bottom half of the museum hosts basically all about the Civil War and the memorabilia. And then the top half, second floor, is the reunions, and it explains that story of the reunions. And it's all current members, sons and daughters, volunteer their time and keep that museum open and staffed. And they have open houses and pancake breakfasts to raise money, and they give scholarships out to local students. And so it's just a wonderful organization. And I'm just glad I got to find out about it. It's in Sheffield Lake, Ohio, on the west side of Cleveland in Lorain County. And I lived in the sister city, Sheffield Village, for 4 years and had no idea that 1 mile down the road, this place was there. And I've lived all my life in greater Cleveland and had no idea that this place had been there since 1908. So what I'm trying to do is get the word out. And WikiTree has been a fantastic way to do so by creating profiles of the members of the 103rd. So there's just over 1,000 in the regiment. And we've created about 858 of them so far on WikiTree. And I put a little tagline with each one that I create that has information on the 103rd in case anyone is a descendant and would like to participate and come to Camp Week in August and just be able to know about it and visit the museum. And the people there have been wonderful. I've worked very closely with the museum curator, Deb Wagner. And
you're a volunteer. You're a volunteer there. You're a volunteer there?
Yes, I volunteer there. Yep. So they have it open during the summer months. The third Sunday every month, they have an open house. And so I'll go up to the second floor and I'll have my computer and I'll have it open on WikiTree. And as people come along, I just start telling the stories of some of the members of the 103rd. And there's some just fascinating stories. Obviously, I talk about Harlan Chapman a lot since he's my closest relative. But we share just lots of cool stories. And this past month in October, the U.S. Civil War Project did our challenge with the 103rd. And so we've added about 150 profiles through that challenge, thanks to other WikiTreeers. And so that's been great. We have about 2 weeks left of this challenge, so you can still jump in and
Wow, great.
help us out. But the stories have been amazing. Some of the things that they've gone through, and some of the things that they did later in life. Many went on and got into politics. Many were successful farmers. And then there's been some bizarre stories as well.
I bet.
So I encourage anyone to go check out some of those profiles. They're really neat.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I was going to ask how others can involve in this project and the U.S. Civil War, but you already said it. You have a challenge and people can still join, and
Yeah.
you're doing a great job as an ambassador because I bet you caught some new users of WikiTree to doing that profiles.
Yes, yeah, and we've had I've had a lot of people email me through WikiTree wanting to know more, or they have a relation. The sons and daughters have to be a direct relation. So I'm not a member because it's a cousin that's in the 103rd. I did have 2 3-time great grandfathers that fought in the Civil War, but their regiments don't do anything like this. I believe the 103rd is the only regiment in the United States. It's one of a kind. There's not another regiment that's ever done continuous reunions every year and have carried it on beyond the original members. And so now, you have 5-time great grandkids who are going to Camp Week right now and learning about this. And then they're going to pass it on to their children eventually.
Yeah, and I bet that museum is maybe one of the richest in their collection. I mean,
yeah,
because there are so many survivors and descendants that
yes,
have
and
the
it's
memorabilia.
really cool to see that, that they rotate items in on the display, and the pictures and so forth. The last time I was there last month, going up the stairs, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that picture before. Where were And so they do a really good job of doing that. I've met so many cousins through this as well. It's been really neat. 2 months ago, we had Harlan Page Chapman's. There's a few Chapmans that were in the 103rd, and so another line of them, his nephew was in the 103rd, and then their descendants came and they donated their 3-time great grandfather's Civil War jacket that he wore in there. And so that was really, really cool. I was able to be there, got a picture with them, met 5 new cousins. It was a brothers and sisters that donated. They donated the bullet that he was shot with. He was shot in his hand and survived the war, obviously. And they had the bullet. They had his enlistment papers. They had his discharge papers. They had his jacket, and they donated all that to the museum.
Wow.
Hey, Dave, do you know if your museum actually rotates some of the donations and artifacts with the Ohio Historical Center here in Columbus, Ohio?
I am not sure what connection they've had over the years with the Ohio connections. And I'd have to ask Deb. I know they've had a lot of other places. They have a connection with the Lake Historical Society as well. Andy Parsons' diary is housed there. And then we have a copy at the 103rd of that.
Yeah, they do have a whole room associated to the Civil War and the veterans of the Civil War. And there's a lot of artifacts. And that's the reason I was asking. I mean, they've got muster roll books and the whole 9 yards. I didn't really hone in on the 103rd because I focused on the USBH, but I was just curious.
Yeah, and the Ohio Connections, History Connections is great. I teach U.S. history, and one of the things my students do is they participate every year in National History Day. We've been doing that since 2012. Ohio Connections is the sponsor for Ohio. And so last year, for example, when we were down at Capital University competing in the state contest,
Awesome.
before the judges were all done, we headed over to the Connections and took tours and checked out the museum with my students. So I am familiar with that organization and their help with Ohio History Day as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
Very cool.
Well, great. Maybe you can give us some, maybe the address or how to find this museum if anyone wants to go and meet you.
Yeah, the museum website is 103ovi.com. And then it's located in Sheffield Lake. I don't know if I have the actual address or.
Oh no, but
not,
with the website,
yeah,
it's
Sheffield
enough.
Lake, Ohio, and on the website you can contact the curator, Deb Wagner, and right now it's off season, so you can call to make an appointment to come to the museum. And like I said, during the summer months, June, July, August, and September, the third Sunday of every month, it is open from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. They have an open house, and the grounds are open as well. And many of the families will open up their cottages and let you see some of that. Some of them have memorabilia in their cottages that are related directly to the family.
Wow.
I've gone through one of my cousins, the Chapman's cottage, and just really need to see some of the other pictures that are up there. One of the displays we have up in the museum is a map of Andersonville and the prison, and it's it's huge, probably 3 feet by 4 feet, and it was in the Chapman home for like just years and years and years, like over their mantle, and then they're finally were like, you know, we need to just donate this to the museum. And so it's really cool because we can show then some of the horrors of Andersonville, talk about that. There were members of the 103rd that were in Andersonville. Some survived, some did not. And so it's, as people come up, we're able to tell that story as well.
Great. Wow, that's great. Now we are showing the link to the 103rd OVI challenge, so you can still join. And I'll also share, because Asher was asking, is there a space page for the regiment? Of course there is.
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we created the space page, and I got to shout out to other U.S. Civil War WikiTreeers. The 105th Ohio had a great one. The 106th New York has a great one, and so I was emailing them and asking them questions, and kind of modeled ours, the 103rd, after those, because they did such a great job on them. There are so many ones out there that people can participate in. All of them could use either connections or profiles made, and these challenges are a great way to do that. So I have the free space page up for each company and the field and staff. And then and they're all linked to the category page, so they're all on the 103rd Regiment's category page, and you can see that and the totals and where we're at.
That's awesome. Well, we shared the link, and the invitation has been made, so everyone can enjoy this challenge and help with this amazing project.
Yeah, they extended it through November 14th. is the last day for the challenge. We took kind of a week off for Halloween because we had the Ghost Hunter challenge that we did. And so, we had originally put, I think it was company I through K, I think, on there, and now we've completed most of those, so we've added some of the other ones. I think company G still had a lot missing profiles, and so there's another probably 100 or so that can be added still.
Wow.
So if anyone wants to join,
so
they're available.
you need all the help you can get. So thank you, Dave, for being with us. It was great to have you, and congrats again.
Thank you.
Our member of the week, and you can stay for as long as you can.
I have a few more minutes, so I'll stay around and listen.
Okay, great. So shall we continue with any other related topic, or do I leave the profile makeovers for the end, or shall we see?
Sandy?
Well,
we can go ahead and I can explain why Sandy is here once again.
we don't need an excuse. We always love having
We
Sandy.
love
So warm and so nice to me. Thank
We're
you.
just going to make up excuses, you know. And this week, Sandy's here because it's the color blue.
Well, actually,
Biscuits, right?
Biscuits.
Sandy is my guest again today on Behind the Branches. And because the Civil War is the theme for the week, Sandy is actually here. All-knowing Sandy is here to share some information about how she's connected to the Civil War project.
I
Sandy,
think the very first thing I need to say is the big, huge thank you to Pam. Pam was a PL with the Civil War project that for many years, I think the past 5-7 years, something like that. And she has done an amazing job of getting this organized and the challenges. If you're a member of the Civil War project, you know about the challenges, the monthly challenges, as Dave mentioned, they're awesome. They are just really well organized. They make sense. They're awesome. You feel a community with the project. Even if you don't know much about the U.S. Civil War, you still feel this community that's around. And they've made it so mentoring. And moving into the new PL, Norm, most of you know Norm because of the challenges. Norm is the new PL of the Military and War Project, but also the Civil War Project. And he actually, I think, did most of the heavy lifting and the work on the challenges, because when I would sign up and it would get to the end of the month and I wouldn't have my page done or something like that, he would swoop in and help me out. So I just want to mention a big thank you to Pam for creating the structure we have now, and a big thank you to Nora for stepping in and keeping this lively program and project going, because it's pretty popular. And I've told you guys a lot throughout Hangouts and things like this, but when I joined WikiTree, I did not know anything about projects. Most people probably don't, right? But my ancestors coming from West Virginia, my ancestors truly are the one brother, the one on the Union, the one on Confederacy. So as a young child, we learned about it. I have several ancestors that have biographies that they have written about their experiences, and some families just never came back together and talked to each other again. So this was always something in my childhood that I knew about. So the Civil War was the first project I joined. And for those of you that might not have a lot of information about what projects are, to me, they're a community of like interest and curiosity. So, for example, I might join a project that I really am curious about, want to learn more about, and that would be a reason to join. The Civil War was I wanted to document my ancestors. And almost exact story of what Dave has mentioned as well, that we're just documenting our ancestors. Along the way, the Civil War Project came around and started doing challenges where we can get involved and document the soldiers that have been here before us. But we're not just talking about soldiers. And usually I'm much better prepared. Please forgive me, but Norm has given me some key points he wants to let everybody know about, and I don't want to miss any of the points. So forgive me for reading, but this is a message from your leader Norm. So he said the Civil War Project documents the lives of those who participated in the Civil War. And it is more broad than just soldiers. It includes medical staff. There's a tremendous amount of nurses, for example. There's a great PBS series on it, on the nurses and medical staff, suppliers, those civilians who aided the war effort. It also includes those beyond the regular troops, such as the spies. In addition to documenting individuals, we tell stories of interesting groups and events through our space page library. And Dave just kind of went through that. I'm not going to recap that, but I'm going to show you what this project does really well with space pages in just a moment. So he says that in one instance, they have Civil War nurses, and another, they showcase underage drummer boys. So if there's certain topics or certain regiments or certain groups, doing a space page keeps them all together. And that's really important, I think, because otherwise, with all the different regiments, if you think about any war in units, it would get too confusing if it was all mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentions that they have a project currently in the works. It's the Sultana disaster. It was a tragic event, and former Union prisoners of war that survived captivity in some of the harshest Confederate camps. So I mention that because as we deal with projects that deal with disasters and war, sometimes it's not always easy. You do get those stories, and you get stories that maybe they are survival stories and maybe they're not. And if they're your ancestors, it can hit you kind of hard in your heart. So
Mm-hmm.
Can I jump in for a second on that? So I actually brought that up to Norman about doing the Sultana, and the reason why is because one of my students last year did her National History Day project on the Sultana disaster, and her three-time great-grandfather survived it. And that was her connection. And she made it to state and placed it at the state down in Columbus. And I was inspired by her. And actually, we are continuing. She's still going out and doing speaking engagements on the Sultana disaster as a junior in high school. She's gonna speak on Tuesday to the World at War Forum at a local library. And I just thought that would be a great thing to add to the Civil War as well, bringing that in.
And I want to point out that a lot of times we think of projects, and this one is, this one's fairly old. We're talking about, around the 1860s. And you would think the younger generation would be like, I'm over this. I don't want to talk about it. And there are some tough subjects with the U.S. Civil War, as with any war. There are some really tough stuff. But this is a great way to get our younger generation involved. Have them trace their own ancestors and learn about them. It's about the stories, right? We can't just tell genealogy and talk about the projects with it just entering in their birth, their marriage, and their death. Exactly. And Vicki's going to talk about that in just a bit. So that's kind of what the Civil War Project is about, is their space page projects. And let me go ahead and show you real quick. Should have had this up already. My apologies. There we go. So the U.S. Civil War Project is really a large project because, again, we've got two sides and we've got many facets to each side. Each side is going to have regiments, units, spies, nurses, medical staff. But where the Civil War Project really excels is going to be their space pages. They have what they call space page projects. These are like ways to group things together. Mm-hmm. And you'll see there's general, there's union side. They'll list it by state. And then as you go through, you'll see some cemeteries. You'll see the units. You've got the colored troops. You've got the Confederate then going through the states, because this is probably the only way to keep this organized. If you come to this project and you want to work on a particular unit and you don't see it, please reach out to the project leader, Norm. He would be glad to help you get set up with a space page. And that would be like fantastic to have more documentation. There's also the thing that this particular project excels at is the image resource pages. So Pam, the previous project leader, went out to a gentleman who had photographed one of the POW cemetery tombstones. He had done almost 90% of them. A lot of work, fabulous pictures. And she got his personal permission for us to use them, the photos of the cemetery. So there's a lot of things going on with this project besides just entering a profile and maybe a category as you go around. And if I'll mention this too, and this is kind of a real quick side note. I'm going off script here. Sorry, Norm. This particular cemetery, my family goes every year, every December, and there's Wreaths Across America program. So we go and we put wreaths. And this particular cemetery is one that we go to that we put the wreaths on the tombstones. But as I'm there, I'm documenting the tombstones and putting the pictures up on WikiTree as well. So Wreaths Across America is just a volunteer program where but it has an opportunity for you to document some tombstones and do charity and genealogy at the same time. So I just thought I'd mention that really quick. As I move on, the challenges, we mentioned the challenges of how great they are. There is an entire backlog of challenges. If you missed this one for October and it's December 1st and you see that there are still some that need done, go backwards. Feel free. Just because the challenge is over for any project. We love it. We love it when you guys go back and help us finish anything. So there's a whole bunch of challenges that are here. There's sign up pages that are really great. Norm always puts up a G2G post and asks you just to sign up. So everybody is working on a separate page. For example, you're not working on the same page. My computer's still asleep this morning, obviously. So we'll move on from there. And then the last thing I just want to mention with the Civil War project is also the research parties that are coming up. But Greg is going to talk about those later. So there are a lot of Civil War immigrants that come in. So if you get stuck on someone and because they came from a different country, and then there are research helpers inside the Civil War and throughout different projects of the Civil War coming up. So that is a Civil War project. I highly recommend that if you have a curiosity, join a challenge. You don't have to be a member. Join a challenge, monthly challenge. They're awesome. Very mentoring.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sandy, for your insight as always, and your dedication and encouraging folks. I mean, that's the purpose of Behind the Branches, to bring light to activities that are going on in the background. Folks don't see them every day. Sometimes they're just focused on the one thing that they're doing. But I really appreciate how you always bring light to what we're trying to do and to encourage folks to tell the stories about the people and not just focus on the dates, what's outside the dash. We want to know what's in the dash about folks when we're creating these profiles.
And so, I am curious about something. I wonder how many people are intimidated to join a project. And I hope that with your program that you have here, that you encourage people to remove that intimidation.
Yes.
Just going.
Yep. That's what great minds. We're thinking alike here. Yeah. You're my twin. You're my twin.
Well, so often too, the members of the week, when they ask, what's your recommendation for new WikiTree members? And so many of them say, join a project, right?
Yeah.
Yes. All of them.
Right. It really is a great way to get to know how to use WikiTree and get some mentoring, on the side, and
yep,
and chat with
and get that collaboration going. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, again, thank you, Sandy. We appreciate all the information you shared, and I'm sure Norm appreciates you stepping in for him at this time.
And he's awesome. For somebody to step into an active project and take it from there is really great. And I just saw the newsletter archives and has all the previous challenges.
Awesome.
So I just went ahead and dropped that into the link. It goes to 2023.
Yep. So if you're inspired to get involved, there's always room for more hearts and hands. Feel free to jump in and reach out to the Civil War Project or any other projects that might inspire you. Thank you.
Okay. So, who's next?
Well, the profiles follow nicely after the question of the week. So why don't we do the other segments first?
Perfect. Shall we see the profile makeover? I have one that is related to the Civil War. And I don't have one or two makeovers for today. I have 10. Okay, so I'll try to go as fast as I can and also try to honor our makeovers. Let me. Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to leave the studio again.
Don't leave the studio. No, don't run away.
No, that's not the button. Okay. So I'll start with this one. Okay. This one was made by Amanda. Is Amanda in the chat? Did we say hello to our viewers?
We have not said hello, no. And part of it, was we had lots of guests, and I was just getting excited, and we just sort of started on it. But the other thing is,
we have a lot to see too.
And we have a lot to see. So that's sort of part of it. And the other part is that with the new layout that they're showing us, we don't see their real name. We just see their YouTube handle.
Now you're seeing my screen, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to see if Amanda is here, but
yeah, Amanda is here.
Great. So Amanda did this makeover of Charles Edward Flinders. Remember, we had this theme that was animals. This is not related, but this man has an interesting story. Well, he was born at sea, which is something special. But she's kind of notable, I guess, because he appears in some like encyclopedic. No, this is the Bicentennial Dictionary of Western Australians. And it really caught my eye because there's a description, something about his occupation that is really, let me see. He was with his father on London Stock Exchange 5 years, joined the West Australia Police Force, resigned Northwest drover, I don't know what a drover is, station bookkeeper, pearler, publican, clerk of courts, landing, waiter, storekeeper, and mailman.
Wow.
It seems he had a busy life.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because he gave various interviews. He did a series of interviews in 1933, 6 interviews apparently, but I don't know why. I mean, he was really busy, but we don't get to know, and this may be part of why Amanda did this makeover. She said that there was some story missing, but he was kind of, I don't know, renowned or notable maybe. I would like to know that. So thank you, Amanda, for bringing this man to life and give us his story. And this makeover was made by Angie Osoria, which is a new participant. And it is her second time. And she did this profile of Philip Bluebird, and she used a bluebird as a background photo. That's beautiful. And this man is a Cherokee. He served in World War II. And I really liked what Angie did in this profile. See this? This is the insignia of a corporal, which was his grade. And then I found it really ingenious. How could you say? It's really creative. They always prompt you to be creative, and I love what she did with this profile. And the next one is from Sue Heath. Remember a member of the week of a couple of weeks ago? Yes. Sue Heath was with us. I challenged her to take this challenge. She did, and she used this profile of Elizabeth Bird Bloomfield. And she's her 3rd great-grandmother. And I also loved what what Susan did with this profile, because she doesn't have a photo of her great grandmother, but she used the photo of the church where she was baptized, and also there we have a record, her marriage record, and this was someone who emigrated to New Zealand from England, and she used the cover of a book that tells the story of the ship where that they immigrated on. We have an image from the passenger list, so it's a beautiful profile and with little resources to have as images. So well done. And the profile photo is the crest, the family crest. We can see it here. There it is. So great, well done.
Yes.
This next profile was made by Melissa Jamieson, and I have to say, this guy had the most interesting life. I don't have the time to tell you. Also, please, you can go and check him out. He was a doctor and a medical doctor, and also a natural scientist. And well, being around so many animals, he was bitten by a snake. He was engaged in something with a neighbor, having an affair with someone. You can see there's a lot of story here. He was really badly injured in that event because neighbors like stormed his house. I don't know why. He wasn't having the affair, but neighbors got into his house. He married twice, and we have a really fun narration about the biting of the snake. The wife said to the press, "That miserable snake occupies the southwest corner of the dining room, but just as soon as Dr. S gets out of the house, there is going to be an execution." And he tells the story of how he saved himself from the poison of the snake. You can read that in case you're bitten by a snake. And this was made by Tia Balser. So thank you again, Tia. I know you're there. And this profile was made by, I said Melissa. No, this one was made by Melissa Jamieson, Walter Badger, animals, Chaplin. And she also used this creative resource, which is using a capital letter, beautiful capital letter for profile photo.
Great idea.
That's nice. I like that.
It looks really nice and clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not empty.
Literary, very literary. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, these profiles were made by Irene Samek, which is also a new participant, second time. And she highlighted these two amazing Australian women, Isabella Bruce Reid, which is the first female veterinarian in the world, and another Australian veterinarian, Anne Flora Frau Ryla, which is an author and a community leader. And she graduated in 1935 in the University of Sydney. And she used this resource that she made a collage with the photographs. Oh, sorry. Oh, Jesus. Uh-oh, sorry, Chrome.
There we go.
Oh my God. She has these two pictures of Anne, and she made a collage and used it as a background. That's great.
Oh, can we click on the collage? That's so like the down below. Yeah, that's lovely.
There you go. The two pictures she made a collage and used it as a background. That's great.
Nice.
And Isabella Bruce Reid, she graduated in 1906 in case you're wondering, when did the first female veterinarian graduate? Well, 1906 in the University of Melbourne, and they even issued a medal with her name to recognize outstanding female veterinarians. So thank you, Irene, for bringing us these great profiles. These images are awesome. And extensive research notes, sources, that they're perfect profiles. And now we have 4 profiles made by Lin Yang and are related with animals. So we have James, how do you pronounce Guppy or Guppy?
Guppy.
It's which is a little fish.
Yes, a little fish, exactly.
For what I saw. And well, we're getting used to this style that Ling uses, which I really like. And are these really fun or fun facts about the profile? For instance, hobby. Where were the hobbies? And also she does these great biographies with context about the history of the times. Well, you know, Lynn. She puts a lot of effort and work in this. And the second profile was Per August Penderson Holtman, which he was, he painted horse-drawn carriages. That was his occupation. He was born in Sweden. And, well, here we have his profile, records, sources. Great, of course. Then we have Hiram N. Butler, which he was a farmer. I'm sorry, Lynn, I have to show this really quick. And the last profile was also a farmer, but she is Lynn's great-great-grandmother, Edna Rowena Clements Ingalls.
Nice.
So I'm sorry, I didn't have time to show you the before pictures because it's 10 makeovers. But you can imagine we have a lot of work and a lot of love, dashes of love on this profile this week.
Gorgeous.
So, thank you. We have had a lot of makeovers this month. And for next month, the theme will be, this is today. I will post this after the LiveCast. And our next theme will be TV and movies. So you have a lot to think about. Actors, directors, someone who really loves to watch TV, or maybe someone who you watch a movie with and you're really fond of. Whatever you choose. So that's it. Just wait for this month's post.
Okay. So movie stars and couch potatoes.
That's great. Yeah, or someone who fixed TVs.
Oh yeah, TV repairman.
Yeah. Or someone who ushered at a movie theater or played the organ at a movie theater. There's
yes. Right. I was a
movies.
cashier. I was a cashier at the movie theater. Cashier and usher.
There you go. That's a link.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Is it time for a question?
I think it's time for you, Betsy.
Okay.
I think Vicki and Denise are done. So it's up to you. You've got the spotlight.
All right. Well, so thank you, Murray, and others who complimented my background. I decided that even though Halloween was yesterday, it was still a timely background because of this question of the week. Any ghosts in your family tree? There were 67 answers to this one.
Wow.
And so you may or may not know, there's always 20 answers on a page. So that was 4 pages of answers. And I only got through 2. I have to admit, I went slower than usual because people were really setting the scene. Like in a lot of the stories, like the physical layout of the house was important to the story. So they would painstakingly describe, you know, how things were arranged in the house. And I was reading it slower to try and create a visual image. And then also I had to take a break because I got creeped out. They're pretty spooky, these.
Pretty
So,
scary.
yes, I will share a few with everybody, and then encourage you all to read the rest. I plucked out Marty Frank's comment that she said, "Then I sensed the presence of their spirits. I didn't feel scared. It was more reassuring in a sense. I felt them letting me know that all was well and it's time to move on from grieving the loss of loved ones." So I thought that was a good aspect to brushes with the supernatural. A lot of them, you know, in terms of, I always like to look for themes in our responses to question of the week. L. Harrington talked about his parents' house built in the 1850s and 60s. They heard footsteps and they saw shadows that they thought looked like a person. So it does seem to be quite a commonality of like old dwellings, you know, houses that were built in the 19th century. You know, it's sort of, the reading the stories made me wonder, are some people more receptive than others? Are children, you know, a lot of people talked about having these experiences as children when, you know, sort of they're more, I guess, open-minded, open-hearted. I don't know how to say it. So I know at one of the middle schools where I teach, they insist that a former principal, whose name is Agnes, haunts the upstairs attic where I sometimes teach. And so when strange things happen, they say, "Oh, it was Agnes." And the middle school is actually next to a church with a cemetery, and Agnes is buried in the cemetery. So,
Or is she?
But yes, I have not encountered Agnes, so fortunately. Anyway, let's see. Chris Ferriolo.
He's in the house.
He's in the house. And let's see. Here is his response. So I think this is this is to a video clip. But he's talking about the house that his grandfather Marco built. And he said apparently Marco had a very distinct aroma. Crystal, really remember him. When Marco passed away in 1983, my dad would smell that distinct odor throughout the house. And it got stronger when he worked in the basement. No voices, nothing else, just the smell. And every now and then Chris would go down there and he smelled something kind of strange. But wait, there's more. When his grandmother Olympia passed away in 2002, they packed up her house and sold things that we didn't need. Parentheses, don't worry, we kept all the stuff that was genealogically significant.
Oh, good. Good.
But Chris says, when I was helping to set things up, I thought I heard her voice telling me things would be okay. And he was upset about her loss. And he told his dad, and since his dad believes in ghosts, he decided to test something. And they put a candy bar on the kitchen table to see what would happen to it. The next day we came back and the bar wrapper was all that was left. Next to it was a crumpled up tissue. No signs of a break-in, and I didn't hear my grandmother's voice again.
Awesome.
So he says he notes Italian ghosts seem kind of chill. Now, next one is Deborah Aiken. said that when she was 9, her family was living in Quito, Ecuador. And one night when she was almost asleep, she saw her great-grandmother, Mama Barrett, sitting in a rocking chair in my room in Ecuador. I didn't think anything of it. She told me she loved me, that she was going to be my guardian angel, and to tell my mother that she loved her. The next morning, on my way downstairs to pass on this message, my mother was crying. She had received a telegram that her grandmother had died. By the way, Mama Barrett lived in Georgia, USA. So she's 70 now, but she says, I still remember it as clear as day. And she said she did eventually tell her mother about this vision that she had waking up in the middle of the night. And her mother shared a similar story about, hearing her father, when she was wavering about a decision to say something to her. So thank you, Deborah. I think Irene was one of your profiles, right, Vicki? Irene Semick?
Irene?
Yes? Yes. So she shared this story. Spirits don't have to necessarily be from your family tree. She said one significant experience was in 2014 when I finished breastfeeding my baby. My older daughter was a toddler, sleeping in her room. She was scrolling on her phone when she heard an older girl's voice say persistently, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." And she froze and she looked to the door and saw a 10-year-old girl in a long white nightgown holding a doll. And one thing that I thought was interesting about this story was because we're genealogists, we take these experiences and we go and we try and figure out what's going on. So that's what Irene did. She researched the history of the neighborhood, and she discovered that 2 streets away from that house, there was a 10-year-old girl who had died in 1899. Her mother was Italian and likely looked like me. Maybe that's why she was calling me mommy. And Irene was so terrified that she put the duvet over her head. So she said, I feel sad now that I didn't interact with her, especially since she's been in limbo for over a century. Thank you, Irene. And then I have just a few more on the next page. This is a contribution from a newt, Joe Augustin.
Nice.
So let's see. He says, I was known in my family as sensitive ever since I was little. I've actually written a book which Dan Gus Posters Aykroyd endorsed. Okay, so here's the story. My uncle married a frail young woman before he shipped off to fight in World War II. His sister was out walking with the newlywed bride when all the dogs in the neighborhood started howling. Today we know the dogs can smell certain illnesses, but my aunt, who paradoxically was a very grounded RN, yet was immersed in the paranormal and read tarot cards very accurately, her aunt took it as an omen. So the bride did die 6 months after the wedding, and her family wanted her to be buried in her wedding gown. The night after her burial, my cousin Bernie, another aunt's son, he was about 3, started screaming in the middle of the night. He said he saw Aunt Lucy outside his bedroom window dressed in a wedding gown. And the thing was, he had not been told that she had died. He had not been taken to the funeral because he was too young. So he never forgot it. He was asked about this when he was 60 years old. He turned pale, told him it was true, and then he never wanted to be asked about it again.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, and Joe concludes, and while the science crowd thinks we believers are a little nuts, I think they are lacking a certain extra sense needed to experience the extra dimensional realities of our universe. Danielle, I think it was the first one, Danielle Piper, says that I thought this one was very interesting because Danielle was adopted. Okay,
Ah.
just say that. She was 5 years old, remembers waking up one night to see a semi-transparent woman in a white dress standing in my doorway watching me. And this happened 8 nights in a row. On the 9th night, it looked like she was wearing a dress with sparkly gold. And instead of just standing there, her head and hands moved like she was trying to communicate. Her adopted parents heard her talking to the lady, and her father said, "Who's she talking to?" And she must have told her mom, "Oh, she's been seeing this lady in the doorway." And he said, "No daughter of mine's going to have an invisible friend." He got out of bed, came through the hallway, and he said, "Shut up, go to sleep." I never saw her again. Forward many years, she has connected with her biological family, and she's retelling this story on social media. And a cousin spoke up and said, "Oh, that's the family ghost. Lots of us have seen her. One of your cousins even wrote a book about her."
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was
Wow.
yeah.
Uh,
So the ghosts know DNA.
That's right.
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. And our last ghost story for this morning today is a ghost cat, a name named Freddie. So Freddie, when he was a kitten, was very silly, and he loved red, and especially red flowers. And so what Deb used to do was she used to buy silk red rosebuds for him, and she snipped them apart, and she could give him one bud at a time. And over a few days, he would croon to it, lick it, and love it to death. And then she'd put a new one in front of him. He grew up, he became more serious. Eventually, at 14, he got very sick with lymphoma, and he had to be euthanized. They were heartbroken, and she said, "I spent that February night in tears. About 5 a.m., I got up to go to the bathroom, which adjoined our bedroom through a short hallway, and as I left the bathroom, there, sitting in the bedroom door, was Freddie. Despite it being in the middle of the night, he was sitting in what appeared to be a pool of radiant morning sunlight, and he was looking like his old, healthy self, and he gazed up at me with his jade green eyes, and then he was gone. She thought, "Well, am I dreaming?" But then she saw a single red silk rosebud on the floor next to him. Oh, so
Wow.
well,
Cool.
yeah, I think this is the sort of thing where if you've had the experience, you can't shake it.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So thank you to everyone who shared.
Very cool. Yeah.
I have a question for Betsy.
Yeah.
How do you know it is Agnes' spirit in your school?
I don't. I just,
Very-
I've been told, like, because we teach in different spots in the music wing, and I think the first time I was assigned to go to the attic, somebody told me.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So, following the questions of week first, the theme for the profiles and the connection checkers game is all about hauntings and haunted connection checkers. And now Dave has left us, but I do want to thank members of the U.S. Civil War Project because they contributed a bunch of them that we're going to start off with. So that's pretty cool. Yes. And I should say again to everyone who's here watching us live, sorry that we didn't get a chance to say hello to you all personally. But again, it is more difficult now that YouTube has changed it, so we only see your YouTube handle, some of which we know, and some of them are your names, and some of them are not. So
you may have to reintroduce yourselves.
That's right. Yeah. So in the future, when you first sign on in the morning, just say, "Hi, it's Amanda from Australia," or John from Ireland, or whatever, and then we will have no question about who people are, and we can actually welcome you, and hopefully it will go smoother and faster. Anyways, welcome. We're happy you're here. whether we said your name out loud or not. We really mean it. And those who are watching after the fact, we're glad you're watching as well. So here we are. Let's see. Let's get this scary story started. So I think I've grouped most of the Civil War ones together. So we will go through those first, and then we will go through all the other ones, because they're not all Civil War. But they're all scary in their own way. So Lewis Addison Armistead, born February 1817 in New Bern, in North Carolina, passed away the 5th of July, 1863 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Okay. So I did not, even though I'm Canadian, I've heard of the Gettysburg Address. I know how, 407 years ago and all that sort of stuff. I couldn't recite it. And I wouldn't have been able to come up with the date. But now I know the Battle of Gettysburg happened between the 1st and the 3rd of July, 1863, because that date is very central to a lot of these profiles. So, and I also did some research, in fact, on the Gettysburg Address, because I thought, well, did the address happen like right after the battle was over? Was it a victory speech? But no, it was actually happened in November as a dedication of the cemetery in Gettysburg. And apparently, what I didn't realize is that then Abraham Lincoln wasn't the main speaker on, for that day. There was a whole big 2-hour address, of dedicating the cemetery. And he just did this little thing at the end, which turned out to be a very short little thing, only 271 words. And that's what people remember, not the 2-hour speech. You know what? Brevity really is the soul of wit. So
I'm sure he worked very hard on that speech.
Well, I think he did.
Somebody did.
It's been, according to the article here, it's been held up as a model of rhetoric, like English speaking, and how precise and clear and inspiring and everything. You don't need to go for 2 hours. You can get it done if you're really clever and skilled. So yeah. That's kind of cool.
And I think back then the presidents wrote their speeches themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think they had speech writers. They wrote them themselves.
Yeah. Which is impressive. Anyways, back to Lewis here. So Lewis, an American career soldier, served as a brevet major. Another word I just learned today. Brevet means someone who was appointed at a position. So, and brev comes from the word for brief. So it could be a temporary position, or it could turn into a full-time one, but it was something that was usually appointed, in the field or quickly. Served as brigadier general in the Confederate Army and was mortally wounded at the Battle of Gettysburg. Interesting, genealogically interesting. He was born in the home of his great-grandfather. So that's kind of cool, when you're the roots are so deep that you're in the same house that your great-grandparents built.
So
he
didn't go to hospitals then.
No, that's right.
Everybody was born at home.
But not just the house like being born in a home, but in the same home, like a family home that's been for generations. Like that's pretty cool. So he had a pretty checkered life. He went to West Point, but then was kicked out or left, either for smashing a plate over someone's head or just because of academic failing. So maybe he wasn't such a great student. But he did do military service. His father pulled a few strings and got him. Well, he had got him in the academy in the first place, and then they got him appointed in different things. He was an infantry in the U.S. Army, and then resigned that commission and then joined the Confederate Army. So he was joined the Confederate Army rank of major, and then he rose through the ranks because he obviously had some skills, some organizational skills. Was made in charge of a regiment, 5 regiments, and then he was and then put in charge of a brigade. So he was a brigadier, and that's at the Battle of Gettysburg. Under Major General George Pickett, he was led the brigade in Pickett's charge. During the Pickett's charge, put his hat at the end of his sword and was waving it around so people could follow, his troops could follow him. Unfortunately, he was shot 3 times. As he was carried off, this is interesting. He was carried off the battlefield. He encountered a Union soldier, Captain Henry Bingham, who was also a Freemason. This guy was also a Freemason. And he gave his possessions to this Captain Bingham to take to their mutual friend, Hancock, who was also a Union soldier. And on basically one of the last things he said was, "Say to General Hancock for me that I have done him and done you all an injury, which I shall regret the longest day that I live." So he regretted his switching sides, I guess, at that point, and then passed away. And so where's the ghost story in all this? Apparently, so he was married twice. His first wife died, and then he got married a second time. His first wife was Cecilia. His second wife was Cornelia. So he sort of liked that kind of, the sound of that name. But anyways, his second wife died. Cornelia died in Fort Riley, Kansas during a cholera epidemic. And he haunts that graveyard where she passed away. So that's his story. Moving on, we have Matilda Jane Pierce Elman. And she was only 14 years of age. She was a young teenager during the Battle of Gettysburg. And she was a nurse, or well, she acted as a nurse. She helped out during the Civil War, during the Gettysburg. Their farm was right near the fighting, and so it was so close. They were actually never safe from the sniper bullets, the cannonballs, and whatnot. And so a number of the wounded and dying were brought to her farm, and the barn was filled and overfilled. So they had to move some of them into the house and then the surrounding grounds around it. And so for 3 long days, as the battle continued, she helped out with the doctoring and the nursing and with the wounded. And her haunting story is that she still haunts the rooms where she helped nurse the soldiers of the Gettysburg battle. Then we have John Fulton Reynolds, born 1820, September 20th, 1820 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, passed away the very first day of the Battle of Gettysburg at the young age of 42. He was a major general. So he was actually member of the 1841 class. He was killed that first day. He's the highest ranking officer to be killed during the Battle of Gettysburg. So the excellent profile here details his military career. He was fought in the Mexican-American War. Then after the Mexican War, he was assigned as commandant of cadets at the United States Military Academy, took part in the Civil War, was promoted to lieutenant colonel in the 14th Infantry Regiment during the beginning of the Civil War, then brigadier general of the Volunteers, part of the Peninsula Campaign of 1862, Battle of Bull Run, lots of stuff here. And then, of course, there, Battle of Gettysburg, morning of July 1st, 1863, he was leading his forces towards Gettysburg, received a message that the Confederate forces were almost there. They were all converging on Gettysburg at this time. He chose the location for the battle, pushed his troops, and as he urged his troops forward, he said, "Forward, men, forward, for God's sake, and drive those fellows out of the woods." And at that moment, he was shot in the neck, killed instantly. He was the highest ranking person killed at Gettysburg. Union Army lost one of its finest generals. And some believe that his spirit never found peace, and as such, his ghost wanders the streets near his family home, looking to meet the fiancée that he had been promised that they would wed after the war. Then we have Mary Virginia Wade, born the 21st of May, 1843 in Gettysburg, and died the 3rd of July, 1863 at the young age of 20 in Gettysburg. She has the distinction of being the only civilian who died during the Battle of Gettysburg. So she lived all of her life in Gettysburg, born and died there. She grew up with John Wesley Culp, Johnson Hastings Skelly. She was possibly engaged to be married, but her fiance died died about a week later after she did. Her mother worked as a seamstress to support the family. Her father, sadly, was put into an insane asylum. So that's why the mother had to work to support the family. They'd moved into her sister's house in July of 1863. Unfortunately, that house was located right in between where the Union soldiers and the Confederate soldiers had set up. And so it was often in the crossfire. Seems to me it would have been a good idea to move to a different house, but maybe that's easier said than done. And sadly, this is very tragic. On the 3rd of July, she was baking bread for the Union soldiers, but she was killed instantly when a stray bullet hit her in the shoulder and then lodged in her heart. Man. So she was first buried in the yard of her sister's house, and then she was moved 6 months later to a cemetery. And it's reported that she haunts her former home on Baltimore Street. Then we have George Armstrong Custer, who did not die during the Civil War, a few years later. Born the 5th of December, 1839 in New Humbley, Harrison County, Ohio, passed away the 25th of June, 1876, again at a very young age, 36, in Crow Agency, Bighorn. George Armstrong Custer, United States Army officer, cavalry commander in the American Civil War and in the American Indian Wars. He was at West Point, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. At the academy, he had 2 nicknames. They called him Cinnamon and they called him Curly.
Both awesome nicknames.
I know, eh?
Yeah.
He had a number of different nicknames throughout his life. In fact, now that you mention it, he was in the, where is it here? They called him so it said in the Indian Wars, he was often battling after the Civil War was over. He was appointed the lieutenant colonel of the newly created Kansas, state of Kansas, or was it a state or a territory at that point? It says newly created, so I'm not sure if that means it became a territory or if that's newly created as a state. But anyways,
Yeah.
whether it's a state or that's where he was appointed. And then he was to provide a military escort through the Black Hills. I thought those were in Dakota, Black Hills, or are they in Kansas? I'm not sure.
Might be both. I know it's in the Dakotas for sure.
Oh, it could be like a mountain range, right? It crosses state boundaries, the hills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyways, through the territory reserved to the Lakota, a Native American tribe, and they had some treaties there. But there was bitterness sown between the members of the tribe. The Indians called him Yellow Hair, and they also called him Son of the Morning Star. And interesting, in the profile, it says the Indian nicknames were actually complimentary, much more compared to the nicknames given to him by his own troops. His troops nicknamed him Iron Butt, Hard Ass, and Ringlets. So if you see a picture of him there, you can see sort of he's got the curly hair, the ringlets there, which also is probably why he got the name of Curly also.
Right.
But anyways, his claim to fame, of course, is the Battle of Little Bighorn. So he was part of a larger military campaign that they were to subdue the Indians who were amassing 7 bands of the Lakotas. He decided to attack them, whether or not that was a mistake on his side, whether he was ordered to do that, I'm not quite sure. I think it says here it wasn't never clear whether that was his decision on his own or whether he was suggested. But much of his command was wiped out. Not all of it, though. Apparently, 215 troops died, but there were 625 in the whole regiment or group. But he lost his life there. He was originally buried in the Gravefield. His ghost is reported to have been seen wandering the halls at the Battlefields Museum. So be wary of where you build museums. You You know, it's a breeding ground for ghosts. We should have asked Dave if there were any ghosts in his museum. Now, Anne Boleyn. Now we're going back across the pond. No more Civil War history here. Of course, the famous Anne Boleyn, second wife of King Henry VIII. And neat here in terms of the profile, we've got this little notification here, easily confused. There is another Anne Boleyn, but not the queen, the one-time queen. It's the wife of Sir John Shelton. So you can do a quick link and jump and look at her profile if you're not sure which Anne Boleyn you want to be talking about. But this is Anne Boleyn, the wife of Henry VIII. And, you know, I think her story is most people are pretty well known. King Henry VIII already had a wife, Catherine of Aragon, but she did not produce any heirs. So he moved on to Anne Boleyn. Now, apparently, they played cat and mouse. I don't know if that's the right term for it. He was interested in her, but she did not acquiesce. She did not want to be a mistress. She wanted to be, if he was truly interested, she wanted him to marry her. And so she held firm. He got an annulment from Catherine of Aragon. They got married. She did give birth to at least 2 children. One is Elizabeth Tudor, who became Queen Elizabeth I. And she had at least one child who died in childbirth or died shortly thereafter. But she was never able to produce a male heir. And of course, that led to Henry being disinterested and wanted to move on. And of course, we know the story. He moved on multiple times. And sadly, part of the way of moving on was to declare that she was, she and her brother and some others had committed treason or were conspiring to commit treason, and that's how her downfall and how she was eventually beheaded in the Tower of London. And of course, that is where she haunts to this day. Dun, dun, dun. Isaac Brock. We have 2 Canadians in the ghost lineup for today. Sir Isaac Brock, born 6th of October, 1769 in St. Peter's Port in Guernsey, in the Guernsey Islands. Jersey Islands. Where's here? St. Peter's Port, Guernsey, in the Channel Islands. So the Channel Islands is the group. Guernsey is one of the islands. And he died during the War of 1812 at the Battle of Queenston Heights. He was the 8th son of his parents, John Brock and Elizabeth Delisle. Received early education in Guernsey, then went on to study in Southampton in England, became part of the British Army, 8th Regiment of Foot, promoted to lieutenant, served in the West Indies, then in 1802 was sent to British North America and arrived first in Lower Canada, which is current day Quebec, and was stationed at Montreal. And then he moved to Upper Canada, which is now known as Ontario, and he established himself at York, which is now the city of Toronto. A lot of our big cities were renamed. So Montreal was originally called Hochelaga, which is a Indian word actually, and then became Montreal. Toronto used to be called York, and then was renamed Toronto. And our next profile is, you'll find out, is the former name of Ottawa, our capital city. But anyways, moving on. He was in York, promoted to Colonel, and then Major General in 1811. Of course, when the War of 1812 broke out, he quickly mobilized the militia and led the British and Canadian forces at the Battle of Queenston Heights, which was one of the first battles of the War of 1812. Sadly, and he personally led the charge up the escarpment. There's quite a bit of a embankment at Queenston Heights, but he was shot through the chest and killed instantly. So even though he fell early in battle, the British did turn back the American invasion, and he became a national hero. And there's a number of things named after him. Brock, there's a Brock University, there's Brock County, Village of Brock in Saskatchewan, there's a parkway named after him, everything. But anyways, his ghost still haunts Queenston Heights, where he was killed. So the other person in Canadian history is John By, who was also from England. 7th of August, born 7th of August, 1779 in Lambeth, Surrey. Passed away the 1st of February, 1836 in Sussex, England. But he came over to Canada, and the Canadian connection is that he was an engineer. So not only was he a military man, but he was also a brilliant engineer. He helped out with the fortifications of Quebec City in Lower Canada, and then also in the construction of the Rideau Canal in Upper Canada. So the Rideau Canal is the one that connects the St. Lawrence River, the large river that comes down through Quebec to the city up, and then this goes up to Ottawa, the canal that goes up to Ottawa. So goods could be moved easier that way across, which would have been land before. He was employed by London's Custom House and went to there. He built the Rideau Canal, and so there was actually a town that the town of where Ottawa used to be called Bytown, because he and his family had settled that and sort of founded it. Anyways, he died, was buried on the 12th of February in St. Albans Churchyard. His ghost, the ghost of John By, along with that of Duncan McNabb, haunts the Bytown Museum in Ottawa. But there you go. Even though he died in England, his ghost came back to the museum. So I tell you, these museums, they're not ghost-proof.
Maybe it's because there were things of importance to him that are now in the museum.
Maybe that could be it. Now this is the first one. This ghost, it said he once controlled a computer within the building that kept bringing his name up again and again on a document.
Really? Sounds like he has a sense of humor.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Then we have Britta Gustavsdotter, or Gustavsdotter, I should say. Born in Brown, 1574, died the 28th of December, 1630, at about the age of 56. She is said to appear as a ghost at Angsko Castle, where she walks between the royal chamber and the big ballroom in the evenings. She's also seen walking between the parish church of Angsko and the castle, carrying a lit candle. So her story, she was the daughter of Gustav Bjornsson and his wife Dorval Johansdotter. They resided at Angsko. She was a mean-spirited woman who survived 2 husbands, but she died from a horrible supernatural experience she underwent during the night before Christmas Day. So this sounds like a Christmas carol, like this tale about Scrooge, but going the wrong way. So she was haunted by spirits on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but instead of it turning her life around like it did for good old Ebenezer Scrooge, it frightened her so much that she died of fright 2 days later, or 3 days later. Apparently, her 2 dead husbands attacked her at the entrance, one of them swiping at her with his rapier, that only caught her veil, and the other threw a stone, which also missed, but she fell down in a swoon and died 3 days later.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where they get the exact date of her death, the 28th of December, after 3 days of swooning. Yes. Frances Winchcombe was born in about 1679, daughter of Henry Winchcombe and Elizabeth Hungerford. She married Henry St. John. So let's see, which became the Viscountess Bolingbroke. Her first husband became the Viscount St. John. Apparently, the marriage was not a happy one, and he left her within 2 years and was no longer with her. She died at the age of 37, many claiming that she died of a broken heart or at a shock at her husband's actions. Her melancholy ghost is said to haunt the manor's park. Of the course, the place is haunted with the 2 apparitions at least. A white lady walks the park and flips around the quiet pond, but a more terrible sight is the chariot drawn by 6 black horses mounted by headless postilions, which at midnight issues from the portals of the ancient mansion, its ghostly wheels rattling on the uneven stones, and drive swiftly away to some fearsome destination. The stables, as they now stand, would seem to be indeed a fitting abode for the black steeds in the phantom coach. And it is not so long since that family at the dwelling house left hurriedly, scared away, so it is said, by the ghostly tenants of the ruins.
Great. You have a very good ghostly narrator voice.
I get to practice all that reading stories to my grandkids. The next one, Mary Elizabeth Jenkins Surratt. She was a boarding house owner in the Washington, D.C., and she was convicted of taking part in the conspiracy to assassinate U.S. President Abraham Lincoln. She grew up, she was the daughter of tobacco farmers, Archibald and Elizabeth Ann Webster Jenkins. She may have been born in a small town nearby. She was enrolled in a private Catholic girls' school. She married John Harrison Surratt in 1839. She had converted, she was Catholic and he converted to Catholicism. But her family, her husband died suddenly in 1862. He had a bunch of debts, so she tried to, he had left her deeply in debt, so she tried to carry on. Rented the family's tavern and farmed to a local farmer. And she was at a boarding house, and so she started a boarding house. And it was at that boarding house that she met John Wilkes Booth. And so turns out she was part of the conspiracy to assassinate Abraham Lincoln. And this all came out, and there's lots of details about the whole thing. But she went to trial, and she was actually convicted. At the time of her death, there was a Supreme Court decision that came after she was sentenced, after she was executed, that would have actually sort of stayed her execution. I mean, she would still be in prison for the treason, but she wouldn't have been hung at the time, but she did. Anyway, so she died. The night that she died, interestingly, a mob attacked the Surratt boarding house and began stripping it of souvenirs. That's horrible. But nowhere in here does it actually mention ghost. What's interesting, and I just want to comment on this. If you're reading a profile and there's something about that, like you don't have additional facts to add to it, but you sort of are questioning something about it, or you want to make a comment about, something of the content, you can add a comment on any profile, any public profile. And Yana Vardman Diamond did just that, which asked this exact question I had when I read the profile. Okay, so where's the connection to ghosts? She popped up as a featured ghost, but I don't see anything mentioned here. Does she haunt something? So I turned to Wikipedia I turned to Google, actually. I didn't even get to Wikipedia. Apparently, she's reported she haunts the establishment of the boarding house that she ran, which makes sense when you think about it, right? There we go. Two more left. Dorothy Walpole Townshend from Norfolk, England, born in 1686, died in 1726. Daughter of Robert Walpole and Mary Burwell. She was mentioned in the will of her father. They had children, at least 11 children altogether. Last one was born in 1724, but she died under mysterious circumstances on the 29th of March and was buried at St. Mary's Church. And some sources say that her death was from smallpox, but others say she died of a broken heart after being separated from her children. And she became the famous ghost, the Brown Lady of Rainham. And so here is a picture of the Brown Lady of Rainham, captured on photograph in 1936. So apparently her husband was jealous, thought that she was having an affair, and imprisoned her, obviously shortly after sometime after her last child was born in 1724. And so she was never allowed to leave, not even to see her children again. And she did die of smallpox, but the broken heart may also be part of that. Final, and that is, she is the last one. There we go. So those are your ghosts of the week. I mean, profiles of the week.
Spooky.
Yeah.
So let's see. Coming up, what's happening? Is there anything happening next week? Well, there's lots happening.
No.
It's WikiTree week. So if you haven't already, sign up for WikiTree. Here is the details. I'll put this in here.
Starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow,
Yes.
bright and early.
Right.
8 a.m. Eastern. 8
Eastern.
a.m. Eastern.
And I'll be
the
doing the Zoom at 9 a.m. Speed Cousin and the heirloom hours. We've talked a lot about the museums and the heirlooms, so I'll be doing the heirloom hour with a special surprise guest.
Nice.
Ooh.
So it starts tomorrow.
It
Yep.
starts tomorrow. And 8 a.m. is a different time than an 8 a.m. today because for at least in most of Canada and most of the states, we change our clocks back. We fall back.
That's right.
Daylight savings time will be over. So I'm just a public service announcement for all those of you who that affects. Just be wary of that. Anyways, this page lists all the different things. We have an amazing symposium coming up on the 7th, on the Friday. There's different panel discussions. There's research parties. WikiTree Day itself, the actual birthday of WikiTree, is the 5th of November. There are Zoom cubicle parties. There's lots of things going on.
Yeah, we got a member Q&A every single day.
Every single day.
Every single day, there's a member Q&A. So you can, if you're new or not new, you can learn something about how to navigate in WikiTree.
Excellent. That's great. We have the Oktoberfest roundup, or the official closing end of Oktoberfest happens also on Thursday at 2:30, and there's panels at noon most days, if not every day. There's lots of stuff, but there's also, La Duca is the one name study for this week. Oberville im Simmental in Bern is the one place study. Of course, the symposium and lots of WikiTree week stuff. So lots of things and so if you go to G2G, pinned at the very top, have you registered for WikiTree week yet? Do so if you haven't already done that. And the other thing is the WikiTree challenge for November is now accepting people who want to be part of that challenge. Tamara Stansfield. So the WikiTree challenge happens after WikiTree because WikiTree week is over. So it's not going to be a conflict. But you can register now while you're thinking about it, so you'll be ready mid-November when this takes place. Tamara Stanfield from Family Search.
Greg, we should probably also mention how we, the Roundup, are affected by WikiTree week.
Yes. We won't be here at 10 next Saturday. We'll be here bright and early at 8.
2 hours early next week.
2 hours early.
Yes. And we're keeping it to a hard 1 hour.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
We may talk fast.
Yeah.
Because of that, I won't have a guest for Behind the Branches. So I'll just
focus will be all
focusing
WikiTree
on
week stuff, I think.
yeah, other stuff.
Yeah. Panels each day, Monday to Thursday at noon. Yeah, I thought it was every day. There we go. Thanks, Azure.
And the Zooms are I think each day as well. They're different themes.
Yeah.
Look at the themes that are on the WikiTree week.
Yeah.
And like tomorrow is Speed Cousin, so we're gonna do Speed Cousining to find out what that is. Join
Cool.
the Zoom. And yes, I see bingo will be back. One bingo will be back this week for WikiTree week as well.
Great.
It'll be quick.
We
It'll
love
be short. It's only one game, so it's not a discussion like we normally have space pages and things like that.
Right.
In projects. So it'll be a quick game. So make sure you get in on time.
Excellent. Sounds good. Well, thanks everyone. Another marathon session, even though I tried to go fast, but we had lots of stuff.
We did.
It was a great day. So thanks everyone. Don't forget to turn your clocks back if that is appropriate for you where you live. And we will see you tomorrow morning to start off WikiTree week and all through the week with lots of different things happening. Take care. Have a great day, everyone.
Awesome.
See you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Sandy.